Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Carolina Parra, and this is my first work for materials design for face-to-face environments course. First of all, I think that it is important to know the differences between language learning and language teaching. When we talk about language learning, we talk about the provision of the meaningful experiences of language. And about language teaching, this term can be used to refer to something made by someone to facilitate the learning. The first question is, what type of materials should be included in English language teaching? I think that teachers should use materials that help in the process depending population's learning styles, their interests, and needs. For example, real use of the language, not only repeating, for example, of a book, activities to improve the skills but allow the students to learn from their previous knowledge. Questions, mistakes, and achieves. Meaningful material, stories, movies, games, speaking sessions, or writing sessions. Materials should. Materials should achieve impact. Teachers achieve impact with a noticeable effect on learners. It includes curiosity, interest, and attention of the students. Materials should help learners to feel at ease. Teachers can help, but materials can help too in a lot of ways. Materials should help learners to develop confidence. In this part, it's important that the students feel good and relaxed with the materials, partners, and teachers. If the students are like that, the teaching process is better, and obviously the learning process too, sorry. Materials should require and facilitate learners' self-investment. It's important that the students feel the need of learning new things because they like and they want, not like an obligation, but with a guide. Materials should expose the learners to language in authentic use. Students need experience about how to use the language in a real context for communicate purposes, not only listening of a CD, not only repeating a conversation of the book, because this is not a real context for communicate. Materials should provide the learners with opportunities to use the target language to achieve communicative purposes. This is a very good experience to practice and learn of their own mistakes, emotions, situations, etc. For example, give information or opinions, tell stories, post listening or post reading activities. Those are so good. Materials should take into account that the positive effects of instruction are usually delayed. The time for each process is very important. Not because students make something good today, it means they are going to do it well the next week. For example, when we work with children, if they understand a topic today or understand some vocabulary, it doesn't mean that tomorrow or the next week they are going to remember that vocabulary or that topic. So for that reason, it's important to give meaningful time for each, in this example, topic or vocabulary. Materials should take into account that learners differ in learning styles. All people learn different. So for that reason, it's important to use different kind of materials, not only for kinesthetic people, not only reading, not only writing, not only drawings, because everybody learns different. And this is depending the personal process of each person. Materials should take into account that learners differ in affective attitudes. People are different and we don't have always the same motivation. The teacher could be a motivation if the teacher use meaningful tools or meaningful materials. The context is a motivation, for example, familiar environment, friends environment, all of that. Um, it's important part of the learning process, I think. Materials should permit a silent period at the beginning of instruction. During the class, the silence could be an excuse for the students for not to talk or participate using the language. But for others, it could be a very good option to be sure about what they are learning and maybe doubts about the topic. The materials should maximize learning potential by encouraging intellectual, aesthetic, and emotional involvement, which stimulates both right and left brain activities. In this part, we talk about series of activities for stimulation. Materials should not rely too much on controlled practice. It is not the same if a learner practices a language repeating a dialogue than a learner practices the language practicing in a real context and with his or her own knowledges. Because with this method, the learner can see what he or she needs to improve or what he or she needs to learn better for learn new things. Materials should provide opportunities for outcome feedback. It is better if the learner has a feedback of what he or she knows than reading or practicing without experience. If they don't have this feedback, it's possible that in a future uh, make he or she makes a lot of mistakes with the language. The second part and the last part is explain the principles of second language acquisition relevant to development of materials for language teaching. So in this part, I think the development of materials is possible if first, the materials are clear and useful for learners' needs and it gives motivation. Second, the language competences. Third, teaching and learning strategies, not only of the teacher. The students can use their own strategies too for learning a language. And finally, the methodology. Thank you so much. I hope you like my video and goodbye.